Welcome to our Team Force call for October. We are halfway through. What is the date today? It's the 8th. So no, we're not even halfway through the month. We're the first week of the month. So we had a lot of people pushing last month for the Team Cup that I know have had people who have popped up out of nowhere. And so those seeds being planted make a difference. We've had a lot of new coaches hop on. I, unfortunately, am not at my house, and I kind of am disheveled. So we're going to just say next week I'll make an announcement, make it all pretty, to welcome all the new coaches. And we have this month the 21 Day Fix and the Body Beast Challenge Pack that are on sale. Those are the 21 Day Fix and the Fix Extreme, are the ones that I feel most comfortable with, mostly because the nutrition is really good. And I have to think back and go, okay, well, I got results before the 21 Day Fix came out, and a lot of people got results before the 21 Day Fix came out. I was even just talking to Christina about the 225 workout. I mean, Gina, you've been using that one, and it was awesome. It really super helped you. But for some reason, I feel really like I wish they would go back and put the 21 Day Fix nutrition guide now with all the older programs. But you can't forget that these workouts, they all get results if people really do follow, the 80-20 rule with their eating, if they're honest with their eating, if they're logging and double checking what they're doing. And now we have the knowledge to be able to help people with any program they choose because we have the 21 Day Fix knowledge. As far as Body Beast goes, I cannot help anybody with a nutrition plan for that because I use the 21 Day Fix. Portion sizes and that program with Body Beast. It just kind of made more sense. I just had a hard time eating all the foods and tons of protein, and maybe I should have, but it just worked out. Just simple, 21 Day Fix. So I'm really interested to see with the Hammer and Chisel. That does come out December. I don't know if they have a set date, but it does come out December. And I know I'm pretty sure that's why they're pushing the 21 Day Fix and Body Beast right now. I'd be interested to see what they push for November because that means we have an extra month before it actually releases. But if you go into the Hammer and Chisel Facebook page, I don't have a URL, but I just type in Hammer and Chisel and there's a program page. They have already started releasing transformation photos from that. And they're awesome. And so use that to kind of help with Transformation Tuesday, to talk about the 21 Day Fix and the Body Beast. And you guys who have had the on-demand, I know, Cecilia, you've done some of the programs. They have 2 programs on right now. One is led by Sagi, one is led by Autumn. I'm not sure if they have any of the workouts led by both of them. There are some pictures out where, Autumn's yelling at Sagi and Sagi's yelling at Autumn, but I'm not sure if that's just for promo. So I'm excited about that program. I plan on resting for 6 weeks after the baby, and then hopping into the program because I'm super excited, and I believe you could probably do a good bit of modification. But today's topic I want to talk about, I picked up because I've been listening to The Greatest Salesman in the World, and I picked up the book and I read it on the trip here. And I was reminded of something that I wanted to share with you guys because in the theme for the night photo, it was that my scripts don't work. To change your life, you have to create a habit. And I wanted to read this first because this is what really brought that on. Because I read this again and it really hit me again and reminded me and took me back to a moment when I was a coach and I was feeling frustrated and I was feeling stressed out and I felt like I was hitting hesitations and roadblocks, and I felt really nervous about sending invites because I felt like I didn't have a handle on what to say. Like I was scared to send out an invite because I wasn't sure what they were going to say back, and I was afraid I was going to mess it up. I was going to say the right thing. They were going to have a question or objection that I wasn't going to be able to answer. And honest truth, I deleted them all, but I had in my Google Drive and in my notebooks, I had like every single question and objection and answer that anybody has ever given written down. So that way then if somebody said something to me, then I felt more confident to have had an answer to give back to them. But what was making me nervous is because what if they came back with something that I didn't have an answer to? I didn't have somebody's answer to copy and paste back. And I realized at that point that I was relying on other people's experience. I was relying on other people's knowledge. I was relying on other people's answers. And that's one of the reasons why I believe I wasn't doing as well, because I was relying on other people. So here I was chit-chatting and talking with people about challenge groups, and then all of a sudden I came out with a copied and paste answer, and it wasn't sounding like me. And so it was at one point when I said, okay, like I couldn't find the answer to a question that I knew I had written down in one of the documents somewhere in my Google Drive. And I was going through it forever. And I was like, okay, this is taking too long. And I had to stop and take a deep breath and go, I know how to answer this. I can answer this. I lost confidence in answering myself. But at that moment, I was like, you know what? I can do this. First of all, it was taking too long to find somebody else's answer anyway, and the person was waiting or having a conversation. It was actually on the phone. So I was like, trying to stall, trying to find the answer. And it was at that moment that I went through my Google Drive, and maybe it was a bad thing. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't have kept it for reference, but I went through because I had scripts for inviting, scripts for objections, scripts on Shakeology, scripts for, I had, you could say I threw away a wealth of information, but I deleted all of those. And I started, and that's where I came up with the permission process. And I took the permission process from other people's processes. And it was in that moment that I feel like momentum really picked up, because I was answering questions, and I was honest when I didn't know the answer. And I said, I don't know, let me help, let me ask some people. All of a sudden things were picking up. And it was because of what was in this book. And I know we've talked a lot about this, The Greatest Salesman. But it's in this book, and I am actually going to read this real quick. It says, time teaches all things to him who lives forever, but I have not the luxury of eternity. Yet within my allotted time, I must practice the art of patience, for nature acts never in haste. To create the olive, king of all trees, 100 years is required. An onion plant is old in 9 weeks. I have lived as an onion plant, and it has not pleased me. Now I would become the greatest of olive trees, and in truth the greatest salesman. And how will this be accomplished? For I have neither the knowledge nor the experience to achieve greatness, and I already have stumbled in ignorance and fallen into pools of self-pity. The answer is simple. I will commence my journey unencumbered with either the weight of unnecessary knowledge or the handicap of meaningless experience. Nature already has supplied me with knowledge, an instinct far greater than any beast in the forest, and the value of experience is overrated, usually by old men who nod wisely and speak stupidly. In truth, experience teaches thoroughly, yet her course of instruction devours men's years, so the value of her lessons diminishes with the time necessary to acquire her special wisdom. The end finds it wasted on dead men. Furthermore, experience is comparable to fashion. I love this. An action proved successful today will be unworkable and impracticable tomorrow. So what that is saying is that you can try and wait to get all the experience you need, but it's going to take a long time for you to get the experience. Kind of like when you look at Brigitte today, who hit the $1 Million Club, she's been in it for 3 years, and she's been consistent for 3 years. Her very first 6 months, she sent out 20 to 30 invites. So 6 months, 20 to 30, or reach outs, 20 to 30, maybe if we say 20 times 30 days is what? 600, right? 600 reach outs for the first 6 months. So 600 times, think about that. Think about how many reach outs she sent out in her first 6 months. So when you look at Brigitte and where she is, she's had a lot of experience, but she's also accelerated her experience by, increasing her numbers. But you don't have to wait to go through, 6,000 reach outs before you can start feeling confident. I want to say you need to start feeling confident now, and the idea is, it's only by going through those reach outs, it's only by going through those invites are you going to gain the confidence. Because if you were like me and you start using other people's words, you're not going to have the confidence, because you're not going to be able to predict every single scenario, every single question that comes back to you. The other thing that it was saying was that experience is like fashion, where you can say, hey, and post in the group and say, hey, what would you say to this? And I mean, there are specific cases and specific reasons and specific things, and we can help. But what I want you to do is not just take answers from me and answers from other people and copy and paste it. First of all, it's written in our language and our personality. But I want you to not just take it and post it or paste it and send it off. I want you to kind of look and see kind of the process or the format or the formula that, the direction that answer is taking them. Because you could say, hey, what do I say to this question? But then you're also going to say, well, what do I say to that question? What do I say to that question? And you're always going to be asking, what do I say? And somebody can always be giving you the answer. But what it comes down to is, it's principles. And we have the permission process, the breadcrumbing is what other people call it. The 5-step process is what, it's taken from. Basically, what that is the direction and kind of tips and things that I've learned. Like if somebody says, hey, okay, I'd love to join your 30-day group. How much does it cost? Don't give them the cost right there until, you've asked them more about, what they like to do. You can say, okay, the cost is variable depending on what tools you already have, if you have any of the Beachbody programs already, and what programs, we're going to connect you with to reach your goals. Can I ask you a few more questions? So there are tips and things to help you to keep the conversation moving forward, keep the conversation focused on them. There are things like Shakeology questions and saying, oh, well, it's too expensive. Well, you can copy and paste instead of, instead of looking at it as extra expense, for me, it was swapping out, the Diet Coke and swapping out the Triscuits or the Wheat Thins and things like that. For me, it was swapping out the junk food that I was already eating. But think behind that, and what it is you're doing a feel, felt, found method. I know how you feel. When I first saw the price, that's how I felt too. This is what I found, was that we're not used to paying for, 30 meals up front. So is there something that you are already spending money on that you're going to spend the money on in the next 30 days anyway? So using those tips and tricks on the process of how to walk somebody through there, but understand that you already know how to answer those questions because you've answered those questions for yourself. You're already working out. You're already doing a program and you're drinking Shakeology. So take a deep breath and go, I know how to answer this, because there's a reason why it's not expensive for you. Or it is expensive, but you've figured out a way to add it to your budget. So rely on your experience that you already have. If you've already bought a bag of Shakeology, you've already answered all the questions those that you're talking to have. If you're already a part of a challenge group, then you already are able to answer those questions that they've had. If you jumped into coaching, so any questions they have, you already know the answer to them. And the principles start with love, understand that they're not trying to attack. They really have questions. And that's where, you just answer them with love of, them, love for Beachbody and the programs, and love for your life, and sharing your experience with them. So I liked that, and that's what I remembered from the book. And that's where, and for me, it was kind of tough because I didn't have a group of people to ask questions. Hey, what do you say? What do you say? What do you say? And so I kind of was like, I sat down and I took a moment and I said, okay, Shakeology, why can I afford it? How am I affording it? So that answers the Shakeology objection. I don't have time. Well, I do have time. Tell me more about coaching. Well, and I wrote down all the things that I have had questions. If you get questions or objections through the day, don't just blow them off and forget about them. Sometimes they sting, but learn from those, because those are experience moments too. And so when you get an objection or a question that you don't know how to answer, or you haven't heard before, write that one down and then take some time to answer, even if you need to write it out on paper before you send it to them. So that's what I wanted to say, that we have the Team Force Mastermind group. I'm going to get all those posts that I'm doing up on our website. It's the teamforcetraining.weebly.com. And up there, there is, like I said, there's a whole bunch of training. There is Mastering the 3 Vital Behavior training. There's Mastering, or the Invite process training. There's Finding Your Girl Boss training. There is so much training up there, but understand that the training is there as guidelines. It's there to help you answer some questions that you might have. But I want you guys to feel confident, because each one of you, when you've posted and I said, what do you think you should say? You guys have been giving mind-blowing responses back. So I want you guys to have the confidence to understand that you are full of love, and you are not salesman, which is why I had this book too. Like Missy said, Missy actually was the one who recommended this to me, and I was like, oh my gosh. Because I was like, how do I help somebody be able to, I asked the question, how do I help somebody be able to learn the invite process without memorizing a script? And she actually said, this book. And I was like, who wants to be a salesman? I don't. But it's all about having the confidence, knowing that you have the answers because you're already doing it, and then gleaning off of your experience, gleaning off of your life, the benefits that you have, and sharing that with others. And so I know sometimes we get like, oh my gosh, this person wrote this back. What do I say? Deep breath, like, well, if it was me, what would I want to hear? What would ease my fear? And not like feeding them lines, but what would help you feel comfortable and loved, and not like you're asking a stupid question, or anything like that. So like I said, I'm going to make this call quick because it's crazy over here. But yeah, I just wanted to go through that, because it hit me again when I read that, and I had that flashback to me having all the scripts saved, and that's why scripts don't work. The trick is that they do if they're your scripts. So I can, I can send you the permission process sort of deal, and that's just simply, invite them to the challenge group, ask them what their fitness goals are, ask them what they like. So that's these are questions you can ask, but put it in your own words. So scripts, other people's scripts, they're not going to work if you're copying and pasting, because they're written in their words. But go through that video, the permission process, and write down the steps that I do, but write in your own verbiage, for what you would ask them, or how you would ask them, or how you would say things. Because it also makes a difference, because I'm talking to people who are like me. And so if you're the type who loves to put, exclamation marks and smiley faces and all that stuff, if you go through my script, it's pretty detailed and dry and to the point, and if you're the happy, emojicon, smiley face, type of person, and you're talking to somebody like that, and then all of a sudden you grab my script and copy and paste, that's going to come off really cold because I don't do exclamation marks and happy smiley faces. so grab the process, put it in your own words, have the confidence and knowledge, and know that I believe that you are answering well. And honestly, the best way to learn how to answer questions that are coming to you is to answer them, and then if it doesn't work out, figure out what could have gone better. And that's why, if you want to post the conversations in the team page, again, we can help you, but I have a hard time saying, this is what I would say, because it's what I would say, but what would you say, or how would you say it? Or so I encourage you guys to do that and make that an assignment to do this weekend. But other than that, that's all I have to say. And we just need to, this month, I feel it. I feel like things are really moving forward. Focus on the power of 3. Stay consistent with that. Be persistent in that. And we're going to have a really good month. So any questions, anything that has come up that I can help with? Gina, I'm behind, but I saw your question about the hammer and chisel, and that's all that I have found out is that it's in December. I don't recall seeing a specific date, but yeah, it's the sneak peek was this month. I don't know if they're doing anything for next month, and then it releases December. I want to say mid-December, kind of like a, buy this for Christmas present sort of deal. So that's what I'm guessing, but I'm not exactly sure. I have been in contact with Missy Reber, who is at the leadership, and so she sent me the pictures on the I have no idea if it actually qualifies as coffee. I'm not sure. I would assume that since it comes from the same fruit plant as coffee beans, that it probably would, but it's latte Shakeology. So that's the first thing that came out of leadership so far. So we'll have more on that as the information gets leaked. So, all right. Anybody have anything else? We're gonna wish. And Gina, is it this weekend, or did you get your? It's 2 weeks. 2 weeks. The what? 2 weeks. Okay. Wow, they got your bib super early. That's cool. We'll be cheering you on. So.
Thank you.
Awesome. Okay. Well, I'm gonna let you guys go. I'm gonna go see who's running around and not in bed. Good night to everybody, and I'll see you on the team page. Love you guys.